Republican candidate Ron DeSantis is now doing so terribly that even his own allies, and we're talking big donors here, are advising him to defend Donald Trump at next week's debate. So, in this video, I'm going to get to that leaked memo and the other points that it makes. I'm also going to get to why it leaked, which I find to be pretty interesting, as well as, in a second here, some polling on where the race currently sits, and I'll also get to a video of what Trump has recently said about Ron DeSantis in the midst of this news about him now having to defend Trump, and I'll also get to what Trump is saying about this whole debate that's happening next week. But first here is the polling from 538, with Trump, of course, currently sitting way in the lead with 54.1%. It is not even close. DeSantis still way down in second at 15.7%, sitting about roughly in the same place for the last couple weeks. And then in third place is Vivek Ramaswamy, who has, I guess, surged a bit since announcing. I feel like he's going to phase out. We're going to see, but this also gets to what else the memo mentions, but I'll get to that in a bit. I want to show you here what Trump just put out. This is yesterday. Yesterday. About Ron DeSanctimonious. So here's a quick video from Trump.
Ron DeSanctimonious drew almost no crowd at the Iowa State Fair on Saturday. Neither did any other candidate, with the exception of your favorite president, me. I'm the only one that drew it. Thousands and thousands of people attended, breaking all state fair records. That's from the very beginning. But I want to thank you, Iowa. That was an incredible day. We will be back soon.
Your favorite candidate, me. Trump is so, I can't help it. He's funny. He's a terrible person. He's a criminal. He will hopefully be in prison in the next couple of years, but he's hilarious. Now, there is some truth to what he is saying here. Trump really upstaged DeSantis at the Iowa State Fair. So this is just a beautiful political move that he pulled off. Trump's Iowa State Fair spectacle clouds DeSantis as former president is joined by Florida officials. Trump showed up at this Iowa State Fair, which is this big deal. All the Republican candidates show up to try and, win over voters. Trump showed up with Florida politicians. DeSantis' own state. I mean, there is no better way to upstage your competitor, DeSantis still in second place, than bringing over several politicians from their own state in support of me, Donald Trump. So beautiful move there politically from Trump. And you're really seeing this fall off for DeSantis. I mean, I've covered already how he's worrying his donors, how they want to see a different strategy, how DeSantis has had to cut down his campaign staff by, I think it was a third. So he's making all these moves as he's losing support. And now you're even seeing people that helped to launch his campaign now look elsewhere. Elon Musk. Remember, DeSantis launched his campaign on Twitter with Elon Musk. Elon Musk is now looking at Vivek Ramaswamy as his candidate, saying he is a very promising candidate. Poor Ron. I almost feel bad for him. I mean, I don't, but I almost do. Just because it is just a complete pile-on. It could not have gone worse for him. I mean, I guess it could have if he wasn't in second place, but it's still not a close second place, and he has only lost support since he had officially announced his run. You can't get worse than that in terms of somebody who had so much promise before he announced. Now, let's get to this memo. The DeSantis debate memo urges him to hammer Ramaswamy and defend Trump. So Ramaswamy, again, third place. He's supposed to hammer him and defend Trump, who is probably the person you should be criticizing here, considering he's in first place. There's no trophy for second place when it comes to a primary for president. So this strategy makes no sense unless, of course, his donors, DeSantis donors, have no interest in DeSantis winning and are really just supporting him in a way to try and support Trump. And maybe At the most, maybe try and get DeSantis into like a VP position. But with how much Trump has attacked DeSantis, would it make political sense to pick DeSantis as your VP? I don't think so. So, more from this memo. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis should act as former President Trump's defender if, quote, Governor Chris Christie attacks him during next week's Republican presidential primary debate, according to a memo from DeSantis allies. Quote, Trump isn't here, so let's just leave him alone, end quote, said the memo as an example of a response to Christie. It was posted to the website of Axiom Strategies, which works for the DeSantis-aligned Never Back Down super PAC. The New York Times first reported on the existence of the memo and trove of documents on Axiom Strategies' website. The memo has since been removed from the Axiom website. So I'm going to get to more here on why this leaked the way it did. But first, more from this memo. So it lists these 4 overarching goals for the debate next week. Attack Biden and the media, of course. Hammer Ramaswamy with fake Vivek suggested as a nickname. This would come off as so phony from Ron DeSantis because it clearly just a line ripped straight from the Trump playbook. Even though let's be honest here. I think pretty much all these candidates are incredibly fake. That said, this is what Trump would do. So it is just bizarre to see the DeSantis allies basically say, yeah, just campaign like Trump. just completely rip off Trump's attack lines and use it on Vivek Ramaswamy. DeSantis should also share his own positive vision, which, what the hell would that be? DeSantis' entire campaign has been just attacking marginalized communities. So I'm not really sure what positive vision he has. His state is, even apart from the endless attacks on the LGBTQ community, on other marginalized communities, his state in terms of like the cost of housing has just exploded. As a governor that, the few powers that you have to try and impact people's lives and help people's lives, to not be able to handle any of that stuff, and it's only gotten worse in your state. Florida, one of the worst states for the cost of housing since DeSantis took over. I don't know what kind of positive vision he's supposed to spin here. Not to mention the video I covered, I think it was earlier this week or last week, where his wife has gone through cancer treatments. And you would think for most people to go through an experience like that, you may have maybe some more empathy for those who cannot afford healthcare. But of course, no. DeSantis is one of the worst governors in terms of healthcare, so that has not impacted him in any way to have any empathy for anybody else. So, I don't know what positive vision, if you're anti-healthcare, if you're anti-affordable housing, if you're anti-LGBTQ, what positive vision do you have? I am curious to see this out of anything here. Last one, of course, defend President Trump. So a spokesperson for DeSantis' campaign said that the document was not a campaign memo and we were not aware of it prior to the article. The reason why they have to say this is because it is from a super PAC. Super PACs are not supposed to directly coordinate with campaigns, but they do so anyways in an indirect way, which is why this memo was leaked. So as Axios writes here, super PACs are not legally allowed to coordinate with a campaign, so it is not unusual for outside groups to post polling documents in the open, albeit in an obscure corner of the internet where insiders know to look. So these places have to post this stuff publicly as a way for these campaigns to read it and to prove that they're not coordinating, privately. But they normally do it in a way where these campaigns know where to look without it getting, out into the public. But here, they just posted it right on the site. So it's apparently unusual for these PACs to post this stuff right on their own website. But that's what they did here. And that's how this memo and all this news got out. Now, a couple last things here. In more worrying signs for DeSantis, private polling in the memo showed a 39-point drop in favorability with Republicans between March and August, and a 15-point drop with voters asked for their second choice candidate, to a tie with Ramaswamy and Tim Scott. So again, just terrible numbers for DeSantis. It isn't just general, national polling. It's also favorability rating. It's within people that thought they were going to support DeSantis, and then they actually saw him campaigning and realized this man has no charisma and is going to have a very tough time winning over Republican voters because of that. Last thing here, Trump's comments on the debate next week, because of course he's not attending. And look, I don't think he should. There's no reason for him to. I think he would do well in a debate. I think he does well, clearly attacking other people on his side, but he doesn't need to be there because he is so far ahead. So he posted this last night saying, many people are asking whether or not I will be doing the debates. All Americans have been clamoring for a president of extremely high intelligence. As everyone is aware, my poll numbers over a wonderful field of Republican candidates, quote unquote, on wonderful, are extraordinary. In fact, I am leading the runner-up, whoever that may now be, by more than 50 points. Reagan didn't do it, and neither did others. People know my record, one of the best ever. So why would I debate? I'm your man. Make America great again. God damn it. This man is hilarious. This, I think, is unintentional hilarity. It's just so ridiculous, but this is so wild. And he's right. He doesn't need to debate. He's way ahead. And what would be hilarious is if he showed up to the debate to sit in the crowd. Sort of like, I don't know, the kingmaker, just sitting there watching these others fight over second place in front of him. That would be a power move. But I don't see that happening because I don't think he wants anything to do with this, but that would be great. So if I can cover this debate next week on YouTube, I will. If it has to be on Twitch, I'll let you know on the community tab. The best way to keep track of all this is, if I will cover it, is to make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Of course, it's free to hit subscribe, and then hit the bell notification icon to be notified when posts go live. That also includes community posts. So if I post anything on there about when I'm going to be covering this debate, it'll be there. So make sure you subscribe, follow, hit the bell, and hopefully I can cover this debate live next week.